here, Big 550 KTRS. Our next guest is a friend of mine, Stuart Rosenblum, and I met him through a wrong number, oddly enough.
That's right. Bowling balls.
Stuart, who runs Stuart's American Mortgage. Good morning this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
All right, first let's talk about, I'm great, thank you for asking. Well, first let's talk about the Fed today. What's the Fed talking about?
I think the Federal Reserve is boxed in as a general rule right now, and they are saying that they can't raise those interest rates because of the volatility in Europe and the overall world economic conditions. So my actual prediction is that they won't raise interest rates for at least another year and a half, and they may even cut it.
Really? Well, they don't have far to cut, right? It's only a half a percent or something.
The last time they raised it was back in December. As you know, I predicted they wouldn't raise it again until maybe once this year, but now I think it's going to happen, the reversal.
All right, so what is that doing for rates? I know after Brexit, it sort of took a nice dip, which was beneficial to people refinancing and buying a house. Where is it now?
Interest rates dropped to the lowest point, and now it picked up a little bit because people calmed down with England leaving. It's still a pretty volatile circumstance, so the interest rates are very, very low.
Right.
But if they cut those interest rates, you may think they may actually go down. I think they may even go up because that's going to stir activity. Stock market's going to soar.
Yeah, because people wouldn't necessarily want to put their money in those 10-year Treasury bills. They want to put their money somewhere else. Interesting. All right. You also mentioned off the air that people are coming to you and changing their FHA loans to conventional. Explain that.
That's the biggest thing. When you get an FHA loan right now and you borrow more than 90% of the value of the property, you're going to have this thing called PMI. It's referred to as MIP with FHA, but it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. With FHA loans, that PMI lasts forever if you borrow more than 90% of the value of the property. So if you bought a home in the last year or two and you've got that PMI forever, people are converting it to conventional loans for free with the bagel loan,
right?
And they're getting rid of that PMI.
So even if you bought your house 5 years ago and you have PMI, you're still paying that PMI insurance every month. 5
years ago, yes. The rule where it continuously happens forever, that PMI, started about a year and a half ago. Before that, when you hit 80% of the value on an FHA loan, it did drop off. Now, no more.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, the government figured out a way to, continuously earn that revenue.
And the PMI insurance can be quite a bit of money every month.
The last person I refinanced was paying $180 a month in PMI.
Right. And so how hard is it to switch from a FHA to a conventional?
Well, it's easy. It's just like refinancing any other loan that we do. We get them done in 35 days. We take the application over the phone. We email you a list of 5 or 6 items you're going to need.
Right.
You scan the email or come pick them up, and you're done in 3 days.
Why would you go to FHA first and not a conventional loan when you originally bought the house?
You shouldn't go back to FHA. The only reason that anybody should ever go on an FHA loan is if you're borrowing a high percentage and your credit score is very low.
Gotcha. So these people who are in this, maybe they had an issue, maybe that was the only way, but now they're in their house for a little bit. Their scores are a little better. They might be able to switch over.
Well, even if you switch from an FHA loan, even if you bought your house this year and you're paying the PMI and you borrow more than 90%, you should switch it to a conventional loan that still has the PMI. And by the way, the PMI on a conventional loan is cheaper than the FHA, so you should switch it. The difference being when you hit 80% of the value of the property, it's going to drop off. With the FHA, it's not.
Aha, interesting. Okay, because years ago, before the downturn, didn't you have to go and request it to be dropped or something?
They always request it. It's somewhat automatic with the FHA years ago, not anymore.
Right.
And the conventional side, you had to ask for it, or if you hit the 80%, it took 11 years to get it done.
Wow. Okay. Now, Stuart Rosenblum with Stuart's American Mortgage. In terms of full disclosure, you are a friend of mine. Explain the zero-cost loan, or i.e. the bagel loan, because if you're going to refinance your FHA to conventional, and a lot of people are sort of heads are spinning and eyes are rolling in the back of their head, you're going to charge me up the wazoo to refinance all these things.
I'm having a ball explaining to everybody that there are no closing costs involved in the transaction. The question I get all the time is, how do you do this? How do you make money?
Right.
How is this possible? Are you rolling it in? I explain it. After 10 seconds of explaining it, you'll understand, and it's an easy thing for us to do.
Pretend I'm a homeowner. I don't understand it, Stuart. What's the scam?
There's no scam at all. We sell our loans on the secondary market. They're Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac insured loans. I can give you the same rates or better with no closing costs. I don't pay commissions out. You haven't seen my offices, but you'd be unimpressed with my office space. I keep my overhead low. It's actually very simple math.
Right.
It's very simple math.
And so where other people and other brokers might have the same rates, might have the same fine customer service, they have closing costs. You don't have any closing costs.
None at all. We just picked up a loan actually this morning where they had applied with the local bank in town. The rate was higher. They had $1,400 in lender fees besides the title fees. We gave them 0.25% better on the rate with no cost at all.
All right. In terms of full disclosure, you are refinancing my home currently.
I am.
Yes. Good. Stuart, how does somebody get a hold of you?
My cell phone number is 314-324-4440.
That's your assistant's phone number, right?
No,
You
that's
don't
my
answer that.
personal cell phone number. You can call it anytime.
314-324-4440 or the website, stewartsamc.com. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Good information here. 832, Big 550, KTRS.
You've been lied to. Lied to